Hello everyone, my name is Xinran Ma. Today, me and my team members are going to give you a presentation about our research project. The name of our anchor paper is Physical Layer Wireless Security Made Fast and Channel Independent. Here is the outline of our research presentation. In this video, we will first introduce what is iJam and why it is important. Secondly, we will talk about the relative works of our anchor paper. Then key concepts of iJam and its experiments will be presented. Finally, we will summarize both advantages and weaknesses of this scheme. Now let's have a look on the first part. In the past, people used secret keys to encrypt messages. The principle of this is eavesdroppers are expected with limited power to decrypt the secrets. The current method in physical layer to calculate secret keys is through computing channel switching. As we know, PC need first generate public and private keys by calculating prime numbers. After this, PC will use a public key to encrypt symmetric keys. This method needs high computing capacity and energy consumptions, but IoT devices do not have this such as wireless sensors, so it is not suitable for IoT devices. To solve these problems, Dr. Golakota and Dr. Katabi designed a physical layer security method named iJam to replace asymmetric key strategy. So what is iJam? Here's the basic mechanism of iJam. In this case, Alice will be the sender while our receiver is Bob. Alice generates the random sequence of BBs, which is referred as a salt. Then Alice delivers these salts to physical layer. Then physical layer will send two same packages with header. The header will be used to notice Bob to begin sending jam signals while Bob receives the package's header. He will begin to jam both signals randomly. As we see on the red picture, red tags are jammed samples. Jammed samples on both signals are exactly complementary. This means all left samples could be reconstructed to a new signal and it is same to original signal. So this is what we see in the right picture. iJam has three benefits. First, it replaced the asymmetric key mechanism. So if IoT devices use it, people could improve their security level to avoid attack from eavesdroppers. Because the security generating rate is not related to channel switching rate, it will achieve approximate 3 to 18 kilobytes per second generating rate with 0% disagreement. Also, not like the cooperating relay technology, there is no other relays or other equipment needed for iJam. It is just based on the current hardware in devices. So equipment developers and producers do not need to spend lots of money for new devices if they use iJam.
Related work of iJam will be introduced in this part. Previous schemes work by using the time-varying wireless channel to establish a secret key between sender and receiver. However, the channel has to change quickly to derive a number of irrelevant bits. As a result, these schemes have a low rate of generating secret key and mainly applicable to mobile environments. In contrast, iJam is a channel-independent approach for extracting secret key, which is fast and can be operated in static channel scenarios. Also, there is a trusted friendly jamming being used as a new approach, which is called third-party jam. iJam can achieve security without a third party. Compared to the third-party jam, iJam is further evaluated in a test bed. In iJam, OFDM is a method that syncs data in multi-frequencies simultaneously. Due to its features, eavesdroppers cannot distinguish original data from jamming data. Also, OFDM is different from BPSK. In BPSK, the frequencies for 1 and 0 are unique, but in OFDM, have a look on the blue lines in this page. It is hard to know which sample means 0 and which sample means 1. This could help iJam avoid from attack. Because iJam is very sensitive with eavesdropper's location, it uses two-way exchange of sorts and all different levels of power mechanisms. Both sender and receivers will take turns in sending and jamming. In this way, iJam could avoid attack based on sender and receiver's location. Those features will be discussed in the following part.
Firstly, in order to check the correlation between performance of eavesdropper and the ratio of the power it receives from jammer and sender, they randomly pick sender and receive jammer nodes. Then they send and jam packet at different power ratio. Measure and represent the error bit rate in the line graph. From the pattern of line graph, they also verify the theoretical inference. When the ratio is either extremely small or large, the bit error rate is relatively obviously low. In the second experiment, to test how many thoughts that allowed iJam to magnify the adversary bit error rate to 50% in 4 QAM, 16 QAM, and 64 QAM. In each experiment, the sender transmitted 10,000 thoughts. The result represented in 3 line graphs. X-axis is the number of thoughts per power level, Y-axis is the bit error rate. iJam required 15 to 30 thoughts in 16 QAM and 64 QAM to achieve bit error rate of 50%, but for error rate need 90 thoughts to achieve bit error rate of 50%. Third experiment to test whether receiver impressions of jamming can achieve identical bit error rate no matter under what modulations. They also randomly pick senders and receiver in 20 nodes, and transmit a signal between them through different modulations. The experiment test results are represented in the line graph. From the experiment data, the author draw the conclusion that for all the modulation schemes, the SNR at iJam receiver is similar both with and without jamming.
Then, I will talk about the strength of iJam. The iJam scheme, introduced by Golokota and Kitabi, is a highly unusual scheme for secret key generation, which is independent of channel variations and fast. Unlike previous protocols, iJam is more suitable for communicating devices, which are lack of computational resources to generate large prime numbers or continuous stream secret keys. While pass rate is only up to 44 secret bits per second, with a 4% of bits disagreement. iJam, in contrast, can achieve about 3 to 18 kilobytes per second, with no bits disagreement. One of the weaknesses in this paper is that it did not utilize statistical tests to verify the effectiveness of iJam. For instance, in this experiment, Golokota and Kitabi choose number of nodes in the test bit at 20 without implement statistical theory on it. One of the weaknesses in this paper is that it did not utilize statistical tests to verify the effectiveness of iJam. For instance, in this experiment, Golokota and Kitabi choose number of nodes in the test bit at 20 without implement statistical theory on it. In my opinion, Golokota and Kitabi should set up confidence level they want to achieve and then determine the sample size by calculation. Conventionally, in statistics, the minimal requirement of sample size is at least 30. However, in this experiment, the sample size does not match the requirements to achieve statistical significance.
A potential flaw of iJam scheme is its robustness is highly correlated with the location of an eavesdropper. Obviously, the author realized the flaw and proposed a single eavesdropper crack scheme to crack down the iJam scheme. For instance, in the situation that the eavesdropper is extremely close to Bob, when Alex sends 2 copies sampling OFDM signal S and Bob sends the jamming signal G to jam one of the copy sent by Alice. Eavesdropper can describe 2 samples sent by Alice as Formula 1 and Formula 2. From above mathematical inference, obviously, eavesdropper can steal the secret key by Formula 4. Since OFDM sampling points approximately follow Gaussian distribution, the sampling points in the signal detected by eavesdropper is the sum of 2 random variables following Gaussian distribution. Given the feature of Gaussian distribution, the sum of 2 independent Gaussian random variables follow the Gaussian distribution as well, with the sum of their mean as the mean, and the sum of their variance as its variance. The variance of jammed sample points be doubled than corresponding original sample points. Because of this, the eavesdropper can find the original one by comparing the variance of 2 sampling points. Although author proposed a two-way exchange scheme in the anchor paper to prevent a single eavesdropper crack scheme, iJam still can easily be cracked down. Ren Qingjia proposed a double eavesdropper cooperative attack method and validated by simulation result in his research, which is still capable of completely cracking down iJam's secret key generating scheme. In the double eavesdropper cooperative attack, 2 eavesdroppers are deployed. Eavesdropper 1 is very close to Alice and eavesdropper 2 is very close to Bob. In this scheme, there are always an eavesdropper which is very close to the jammer in that moment. Each of them are capable of stealing part of secret key through following the method used in single eavesdropper crack scheme. In the final stage, the only thing they need to do is combine the parts of key they stole and put them together. They will still obtain the secret key. To address this, we have a thought that probably Alice and Bob can randomly take the role of jammer. In this case, it would be more difficult for eavesdropper to distinguish jammed sampling points and the original ones.
In conclusion, iJam is presented as a new physics layer technique that enables 2 nodes to exchange secret bits without encryption. It allows only the intended receiver to decode the key accurately. In this research, it has been shown that iJam achieves significantly higher rates than existing protocols. And because iJam is also independent of channel variations, it can work even when the channel is static. However, if the eavesdropper is located close to the sender, eavesdropper can decode the signal. Because the jamming power will be lower than the power of the secret signal, the eavesdropper can easily distinguish the jamming from the original signals. Moreover, features of signals may be changed after jamming. It will allow the eavesdropper to identify the jamming samples. To solve those problems, both sender and receiver will take turns in sending and jamming. In that case, it's not possible for an eavesdropper always be close to the sender than receiver. Moreover, OFDM transmission is exploited by iJam, which makes the signal unrecognizable by eavesdropper. Thank you very much. And this is the last part of our presentation. Here is the reference list. If you have any further questions about iJam, feel free to comment your issues on our URL page.